about to reach 10 seconds. We are going to be off any moment now, and it's going to be fast and furious yet again. And we'll see that customary handshake, and we're off. Pragg with the white pieces. Will he switch it up? Nope, back to d4. And Erigaisi, can he pull another trick out of his bag? He needs to surprise Pragg in the opening. That's been his recipe for success so far, Peter.
Yes, and now Pragg is pausing. Is he going for the London system? Does he try to be very solid? But it's also Arjun's setup. No, he finally goes for c4.
And a repeat of the game just 2 clashes ago when Erigaisi was also in a must-win situation. There he surprised Pragg with a slightly dubious opening line, but it worked to perfection. Pragg, you would have thought he spent the break trying to work out what to do here. Surely he expected this, but now he's in the tank. He's burning some valuable seconds trying to figure out what to do, and it's just move 4 or 5.
Yeah, he went for c takes d5. He just wants to make sure that we get the cards-but structure. On the other hand, Arjun will for sure go for some bishop b4 Ragozin type of action exactly on the board.
Yeah, and this is a very principled setup for black, and it ensures that there's no end to the tension. This one is going to be a long game, a long battle. And okay, Pragg forcing Erigaisi to part with the bishop pair, losing a bit of time in the process. And now, how aggressive will he be as black? He can castle, just play a normal position, or he can maybe try something a bit more fruity.
Yes, there are all kinds of c5, queen a5s, knight e4s. Yeah, Arjun goes for knight e4, trying to spice things up. White plays with the stabilizing queen c2. g5. That's I think the move Arjun will go for. You have to create counterplay.
Yeah, it's right up his alley, a move like g5. There we go, it's on the board. Comes with a lot of risk attached, warning signs to this move. Pawns don't move backwards. You're down the bishop pair, and you're basically burning your bridges, saying you won't likely castle on the king side. But you are asking big questions of this white bishop. Which way to go, Peter? Where's that bishop going to retreat to?
I don't know, but it brings me back some memories. Garry Kasparov getting crushed by Jan Nepomniachtchi in Zagreb 2021 in the very same variation. It's a completely crazy line. Yeah, bishop e5, things are out of control. It's a dream come true for Arjun. He gets a chance to fight in a very sharp position.
Yeah, great opening choice from Erigaisi. No matter what the result in the end, he's got what he needs, a really fighting position. And okay, bishop to e5, hitting that black rook in the corner. 2 real, or maybe 3 reactions to this. You can trade off this bishop on e5. I think that's the least likely of them all. Either black will castle, as Erigaisi's just done, or he would have kicked that bishop away. So, okay, he castles. I said it was unlikely because this side is weak, but some serious threats. White's bishop in the center, potentially trapped if Pragg is not careful here.
Yeah, also there are ideas like e3 can be met by g4, kicking away that knight, and if that knight is forced away, then we trade on e5, destroying white's pawn structure after d takes e5. White's structure is awful, it's damaged. Lot of pressure on Pragg. Done 1 minute on the clock, and the position is out of control. Very shaky situation.
This is real youthful energy from both of them. I mean, this is basically textbook what not to do as white when you just need a draw. You've just allowed total chaos to reign over the board. Usually you want to develop very sensibly, not take any risk, not allow the opponent any aggressive attempts, but exactly as you predicted on the board is happening now, Peter, and a chance for Erigaisi to damage white's structure.
Yes, the big question with which move order you start. Yeah, knight takes d5, d takes e5. Now what do you do? It's clear that it's nice. It would be lovely to play the move bishop f5, but that is met beautifully with bishop d3, releasing the tension. That would be fantastic news for white. I'm expecting maybe a retreat, maybe knight c5, just to make sure that that pawn on e5 keeps on being isolated.
Yeah, not being tempted to trade off too many pieces. If knights leave the board, then white might breathe a sigh of relief. White is also behind in development with the king stuck in the center, so it makes sense to keep pieces on the board. But of course, Erigaisi needs to decide here. It's a matter of taste. Clocks,
yeah, because
level.
Yes, after knight c5, there is h3. Yeah, that's kind of an unknowing move. Knight c5 on the board. I'm pretty sure that Pragg will play the move h3. He needs to try to create counterplay against black's king on the h file.
Yeah, looks very active. Again, it's so tough in this match situation to play active, aggressive moves like that because they are committal. But it is up Pragg's alley normally. It's either that or a developing move such as bishop to e2, but that feels slow. It allows black the tempo, the time to bring the queen out. e5 super weak.
Yes, basically it's such a crazy position. It's so much out of control that you have to forget about conventional wisdom and try to focus just on the position. Taking his time, senses that this is a very important moment. If black just stabilizes, black wins. Yeah, so much at stake. And Pragg goes bishop d3, hitting that pawn on h7. That will be ignored. That pawn is not the problem. Bishop h7 will be met by king g7. I'm assuming queen g5 to be the most natural move here.
Yeah, it's almost automatic. Black needs to activate the queen. Getting rid of that e5 pawn will just totally kind of structurally and strategically be desirable for black here. And okay, Arjun, if he's feeling ambitious, maybe he'll push his h-pawn just to try and keep a material advantage. But there we go, queen g5 on the board. He's working his magic again. I really fear for Pragg's position here. It's all falling apart.
It's falling apart, and how quickly it is falling apart. Now I also feel like already it's too late to start action with h3. If white castles short, then black just takes on e5, and suddenly white can't take on h7 because the h5 will open up for black in case if white castles short. That means white might have to fight a pawn down.
Yeah, might well be a pawn down with a fractured structure. Just really unpleasant here. And as said in the featured chat, this is top level prep by Arjun. Just great psychology as well to keep playing down this really sharp, really risky variation, provoking Pragg into some early mistakes. And look at the clock times again. It seems to be the story of the day, Peter. The side with white just unable to get a playable position and always down on the clock.
Yes, and you know what comes to my mind? That at this moment, Hikaru Nakamura is going crazy. Why didn't Pragg show these nerves against me? Yeah, it was Pragg played e4, played the professional game, and Hikaru never had a chance. And in this match, he's so shaky with the white pieces.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's not playing 1e4, his bread and butter, the opening he's played most of his life in this situation where he just needs to go back to basics and make a draw. But okay, finally h3 on the board, the move you were advocating, and this allows. Okay,
but
e5. Wow,
that's shocking. H take g4, opening up the h file. The rook comes to life. That's a big moment for white.
How could you allow the h file to become open? It looked like just shut down that flank, and black is in full control. Just he's allowing all sorts of nastiness on h7, Peter. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, completely crazy, and this is exactly what Pragg needs. He's down to 1 minute and 10 seconds. The position is very sharp now. He doesn't, I mean, there is constant action. He does take on h7, and after king g7, knight f3, computers top choice. Pragg is back in business.
Back in business indeed, and this is what nerves do to you. He was up almost 2 minutes on the clock there, Arjun, but just rushing and allowing counterplay. Suddenly, if you capture this knight on f3 with black's bishop, you open up even more lines towards the black king, and therefore you need to maybe lose a bit of time with your queen, but no easy square for her. Still really imbalanced. Anything could happen, but Pragg breathing a sigh of relief. It's no longer one-way traffic.
Yes, not at all. And you mentioned that bishop f3 does open the g file. On the other hand, if white knights land on d4, then the f5 square, white can fall back with the bishop to f5, and black's king will be super shaky. I believe that black has to take on f3 and gf, probably play the move rook h8, then hide the king on f8, and then try to coordinate the forces.
Yeah, and I love that featured chat talking about how pragmatic he's being right now. Pragg is being the opposite of pragmatic in this game. It's just, wow, look at what's happening here. Look at white's structure. Look at the king positions. And white is ready to castle queenside. Who would have thought it in the queen's gambit? You nearly never see that. And okay, rook to h8 just played there by Arjun, still maintaining a clock advantage. That's his main trump card right now.
Yes, that was perfect judgment. It's clear that Arjun feels like, yeah, I might have blown it, I might have lost the momentum, but still, I have everything to play for. The good news for white is that white has this very stable pawn structure now. Black's knight is not able to find the weak spot. Yes, there might be some tactical idea like knight e6, knight f4 check, but Pragg connects the rooks. It's anybody's game. And Pragg has enough time. I think that 50 seconds are enough to be able to show his best.
Yeah, forget classical, rapid, or blitz. This is pretty much bullet chess now. And yeah, these players, they do thrive. They're very good, of course, at those time controls. And White's king, surprisingly safe on the e2 square. And what has Arjun done? He's played a5.
Wow.
Mysterious, Peter.
Yes, very mysterious, because, okay, one could argue that the rook wants to be activated like this, but it takes too much time. Pragg jumps on the opportunity. He might go f4 and then activate his rooks.
A really, really slow plan there from Arjun. Look at those black rooks back on their starting squares. F4, momentum type of move. Kick back the opponent, gain space, gain time. And suddenly, okay, still 30 seconds for Pragg. Suddenly the white rooks leaping forward, as you mentioned. Where to go next with the black queen? He needs to retreat. The rooks are coming in.
Yeah, now maybe rook h5, activating the rook, hitting at the pawn on d5, and Pragg is going for it.
Hitting a pawn. Everything's coming with tempo now as well. That's a real warning sign in blitz. When things turn against you, you really start to feel it. You start to sweat, panic, and freeze. And no easy way to defend d5, this pawn in the center, Peter, because there will be tricks like c4 just opening things up, and open positions will suit white's rooks and bishop.
Yes, and there is also this tactic that queen a6 check can be met by bishop d3, for example. Ooh. Arjun has made a move, knight e4, c4 on the board.
Yeah, c4, and okay, not approved by the engine, but looks very natural to human eyes. Just really asking big questions of Arjun now. It's hanging by a thread for black, the pawn and knight in the center. That construction is being undermined. Something special here. 30 seconds. Queen a6. Okay,
wow.
Pinning this pawn.
I think that pawn not approved by the engine. If you already mentioned that c4 wasn't approved, that's the same. But nerve set play, who can play perfect? We have to focus. Pragg down to 10 seconds.
Wow, and he gives up a pawn with check instead, sidestepping with his queen, hitting that black rook in the corner. Of course, neither side can play perfect chess in this bullet game now. 8 seconds for Pragnananda. And I think this pawn will be gobbled up with check. What next for Erigaisi? He's also panicking. Look at it on his face. Stakes are so high. He has to react. He drops back with his knight. He doesn't take any pawns. And that knight gets pinned. This is chaos.
Total chaos. Rook takes h7.
White bishop falls, but now the black knight will be captured. Oh, he made that move with 1 second, Peter. That's the small margins. And look at the evaluation.
And the blunder. Rook takes h6, winning on the spot. Wow. And that's it. Wow, Arjun bouncing back. The nerves and the time together.
He blundered there. He should have taken the black rook. He took the black knight and instead hung his own rook. It's so hard here, and it's going to be resigned any moment. There's another spite check. Just a rook down for Pragnananda.
Yes, it's hopeless.
Arjun holding everything together. He's about to come in and deliver checkmate. Pragg knows this is the end, and we'll see more chess. Again, another win for the black pieces and a handshake. Erigaisi, he does it again, Peter.
This was a critical moment of the game. Pragg was in a very good position. He was leading by 1 point. All he needed was a draw. He was winning in this game. And with 22 seconds, he played queen b2, having taken a lot of time. He was down to 8 seconds. He is allowing queen takes pawn with check. But if the queen is out of play, the rook will have no way to save itself. And the king will be unsafe. So queen takes pawn was still the best option to Arjun. But Arjun went for knight f6. And now rook h6, pinning the knight. Here, Arjun took the bishop and Pragg took the knight with the queen. Big blunder because it allowed rook takes h6. Instead, Pragg had to play either rook takes knight, then the pawn will still fall with check, or rook takes rook, in which case after knight takes, queen h8, you get back the knight, attacking the king and knight. So those were the options. This was the best option for Pragg, but he was down to very few seconds. He was down to 7 seconds and clock was ticking. This is what would happen. Queen check and king moves. You have to understand, queen takes pawn and king moves, the rook would be hanging with this skewer. So queen takes pawn wouldn't work, but yeah. Queen h7, but the pawn will still fall. but this is anybody's game still. Arjun is slightly better, but it would have been okay for Pragg. But Pragg went for queen f6, blundering rook takes rook. And that's how he lost that game, which took the match to the final blitz game.